Hey all, came from Beisan Systems again. Today we have the S54 Vanos Solenoid pack from the E46M3. I'm going to go through our process of rebuilding, and already we've done the cleaning process here. We have basically two stations we go through. We use brake cleaner, get all the heavy stuff off, and then we will do a standard wash to get that all off. And if we don't, it kind of turns the pack white. So makes sense. Not that it harms anything, but it just looks nicer. First step here is to clean the pins. Now I have to warn everybody, I had an issue in the beginning that we didn't realize when we were using brake cleaner, it badly oxidized the pins. So we picked up some diamond tipped scrapers here. Actually diamond on them. You can believe that. Uh, pretty common, it's just diamond dust. And we go in two angles. So we get both sides of it. And then we'll come back with CRC, electrical contact cleaner here. We'll spray it, clean all that out, and that solved our problem. But again, that was a long time ago. However, the point is please don't use brake cleaner on either of the sides of the connector or the plug. It just causes havoc. So if you do so, you probably need to follow it up with something like this, but we do have to scrape it to get it to contact properly. Okay, the next part here is going to be a little interesting. It's very loud. I'm going to try it and see how it works. So we're going to remove the top here so we can get to the inside. It's bonded through glue, and it's also clasped on the side here with all these 6 tabs here. So, all right. Okay, I wanted to capture this station here. It was a little bit too noisy to do live, so I'll just go over what we do. So typically, once we get done with cutting open the pack, we'll go to the station. We'll use these motorized and non-motorized nylon brushes here to clean everything off. Scrape the pack. Once everything's clean, we'll put it on here. We'll go ahead and drill it out. We have a screw that goes where the post was and keeps the vibrations at a minimum. And then we'll take it over to our table here, and there's a cavity below the main connector pins that will insert some epoxy in that cavity, again to help with vibration. And from there, we'll just let it set up a little bit, and then we'll follow up with sealing the pack cover itself. Okay, this next part here requires about every piece of equipment that we have, soldering equipment, and we're going to desolder and then resolder all these connections on the pack. And because there's some immense heat dissipation on a few of these that are connected to the back plane of this board, we need just about everything, even though it's professional Weller equipment. Here, a couple of them are easy, a couple of them are a pain. So here we go. We're going to do the main connector first here. This one is pretty straightforward. I guess I should pull this a little bit closer here. Of all these main connector solder joints, there's one of them that always seems to be a lot harder than the other. All the easy ones first here. And we'll have to come in. Actually, we use flux to remove a couple of these, makes it easier. It takes a moment to do so. Gotta give it 8 to 10 seconds. So it gets down far enough. Remove. They use non-leaded solder. We're going to use leaded solder to replace it. again. Flux it up. And what we're doing, the back part here are the coil connectors. These are the little wires that come out of it. I'll point it out in a minute here. Another shot here, main connector, and all these little guys are the 4 coils. Some diodes so power doesn't get fed back into the DME from the unit. Okay, now we'll go ahead and we'll solder. This requires 2 different wattage soldering irons. We have a rework station and then a standard higher wattage soldering iron. The rework station is actually pretty nice. It's very easy to work with high quality stuff. Again, this one connector point here that makes a little bit more heat than the others. So leave them that way on these. We'll do the easy ones. Coils. Coils are interesting. They gave such a little tiny area as a solder pad to solder these two compared to the main connector joints. It's pretty wild that they would do that. I don't know what the reasoning is for, but this one was resoldered. There's something to solder to. Okay, the other 4 get the hopper soldered. This feels like you're using a large shoe to resolder this compared to the rework station. I really like that rework station. Very easy to work on. But it doesn't work on these larger ones that heat sink. Awful lot of heat. Okay, and then typically just tap that. I have one that takes a bit more heat than the others here with the larger iron. Just for good measure, we're going to look at this. Different angles. Yeah, it looks great. Hold it up. And connector and all the 4 coils, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's it for this station. We'll continue on. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and we'll continue videoing. Okay, this is the next part. I'm going to inject via syringe into the cavity. Okay, what we're looking for is to basically show itself on, there's an open hole on the other side here. You usually see it most of the way through there, and we'll go ahead and continue on, and this will settle back down in the pocket even though it's coming over the pins itself. Give it about an hour and most of the time it seeps back down into there. It doesn't seem to affect it at all. Next we'll come over here, we'll bring the packs. I'm going to finish these up here and we'll seal them. Okay, this is the final step here. We have our special epoxy. This is made specifically for this task. in this type of plastic and adhesion. So what we're going to do is we have our test box here. I'm going to go ahead and clamp this down. And what this does is mimics screwing the pack down to the solenoid block. So we make sure solenoids 1 through 4 actuated just fine. Go ahead and get this thing mixing up. I use plenty of this. Okay, these do dribble out after, so I like to put them on a paper towel. Okay. And typically center this up. And of course I forgot my garbage can here, so I'll have to use the big one. Over you come. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. So, and then we remove the excess. You have about 15 minutes or so for this to set up. And it does kind of move around a little bit. You gotta place it at the end here, but keep it relatively centered. Just makes it look nice and clean. Okay. Get this, clean this out. Right, at this point, I have all the excess off. I'll typically sit her back down and just center it as much as possible. Give it a push, and there you go. So looks good. We'll go ahead and sit it down here, and I'll just repeat that over and over again with the testing and sealing. So we have about 35 or so to do here, but that's all there is to it. All right, thank you very much.